Well, the violence has been fueled by long-standing distrust between ethnic minority neighbourhoods and the French police. Speaking to the BBC, Thierry Claire, the Deputy Secretary-General of one of the country's main police unions, dismissed claims that the police had a problem with racism.
Non, la police en France, elle n'est pas raciste.
No, the French police are not racist. There can be some behaviour which is on the borderline, and some officers have been sanctioned, sometimes sacked, for such acts. But it's something that is marginal, like it happens in any corporation or institution. But the national police is not racist. Our colleagues are from diverse origins. Some of us are married to partners from a different religion or background, and we cannot say today that the police as a whole is racist.
The situation in France does remain on edge this morning. Our correspondent Sophia Batista is in Paris.
The situation here in Nanterre is extremely tense. This is, of course, the area of Paris where on Tuesday a teenager called Nahel was shot dead by a policeman. Now, last night, for the third night in a row, there have been violent clashes between the police and protesters. According to the news agency AFP, some protesters used hand grenades. They set fire to cars and buildings, and the police responded with tear gas. Now, we have seen an escalation in the violence, and what's different today is that overnight there was looting across France of several buildings and hotels. You can see that behind me in this gas station where the glass has been smashed, the security cameras have been broken, and people stole lots of things inside it. And right across the street over there, there's a tobacco shop where we can see very similar things: glass smashed, doors broken, and everything inside it, most things inside it, gone. And you know, this has also been happening in central Paris, near the Louvre and near the Champs-Élysées. But it's not just Paris. Overnight, you mentioned arrests across France. We have an update on that number. We understand now that nearly 700 people have been arrested overnight, many of them are under 18. And so it looks like the violence and the riots are set to continue in the coming days.
Sophia, so there was the announcement yesterday, wasn't there, that the Interior Minister deployed 40,000 police officers, not just in Paris, but around the country. Now, the site of the country's counter-terrorism police unit, the Research and Intervention Brigade, I mean, that would be more of a trigger rather than restoring calm on the streets.
That's right. And, you know, the French President Emmanuel Macron has called for calm. He said that what happened here on Tuesday has moved an entire nation. But people here are still deeply angry at the police. And, you know, President Macron deployed 40,000 police officers to try and deal with the unrest. On top of that, last night, several areas of Paris imposed curfews. We also saw tram and bus services being stopped, which here in Paris is nearly unprecedented. Now, President Macron is about to hold a crisis meeting in a few hours to sort of look at options. And one thing that he could do is impose a state of emergency across the country. Essentially, that means more power to the state, not allowing demonstrations and public meetings, and imposing curfews across the country. And of course, the police officer who shot dead Nahel has now apologized to the mother to Nahel's mother. He said he's devastated. He's been arrested and charged of manslaughter. But despite of all of this, people here have told us that this is not just about Nahel. This is the final straw. There's a lot of anger at the police, and it's very likely that the riots will continue. And the feeling is that the government does not yet have the situation under control.
Sophia, we're hearing from the politicians, we're hearing from those communities that are expressing their anger. What about wider France? How is this being covered? And what are French people saying about cities on fire?
Well, I can tell you that there has been, on top of anger at the police, there has been a lot of anger at the media for the way that they've been covering the story, of course, with claims that media are biased and are supportive of the government. But the people that we have spoken to yesterday have told us, we spoke to people who are angry at the police, as I was mentioning, that they feel that there's a culture of impunity in the French police, that they are guilty of racial profiling and of excessive use of force. But lots of people we've spoken to are also angry at the rioters because they feel that these protests are actually hurting normal people, people who live in areas like Nanterre. Someone yesterday told us that, lots of people from Nanterre were not able to go to work because their cars were set on fire. Someone else told us that she's just really scared because she doesn't know what the rioters are going to do next. So today, a feeling of anger, but also a feeling of fear from lots of people here in France.
And that was Sophia Batista there.